If you want it all from your exhaust, great sound, lots of volume, excellent build quality, and more performance, then the Borla ATAK Cat-Back will be the perfect addition to your 2005 to 2007 6-liter powered C6 Corvette. This exhaust is going to give your C6 more of that classic muscle car look and sound, and it wakes these cars up in a big way. Accordingly, we're going to give this the full 5 out of 5 on our loudness meter. So make no mistake, this one brings the heat. However, it's about more than just volume, and there's some cool engineering baked in here to make it tolerable for a daily drive or for a long road trip. Borla is well known in the enthusiast community for making some of the best exhausts you can buy, especially when it comes to how they sound. And the ATAK series is the loudest of the bunch. Like you heard from the clips at the start of the video, you're gonna get that deep, aggressive race car inspired note on the outside. It is truly a great sound, and it sounds like what you would expect to come out of a C6R race car from back in the day. Now this system is a full catback, replacing your factory mid pipes, your over axle pipes, and your mufflers, and it makes a huge difference. Now of course, making the LS2 sound good is not really all that hard to do, but balancing a good sound profile and volume in a way that won't make your ears bleed is a much harder thing to accomplish, and that's where Borla does it better than most. And the key is right there in the name, ATAK. Now that stands for Acoustically Tuned Applied Kinetics. It's a Borla exclusive technology that allows them to tune each exhaust for a specific vehicle application. And the philosophy of the ATAK lineup is to produce the highest possible volume while maintaining clarity of sound. Now this is accomplished by using their other cool technology called polyphonic harmonizing technology. And that incorporates a patented multi-core design. So there are actually different lengths of pipe that have perforations, different diameters, and different patterns, all in the name of controlling sound. And that is all contained right here inside the mufflers. All that stuff that we just talked about eliminates drone that you would find in other exhausts. And the beauty of the ATAK is that you get that great sound and volume that you want without feeling overwhelmed by it. Now another piece of the puzzle in this particular system is the included X pipe. This goes a long way toward helping exhaust gas flow because you have that nice slick crossover there in the center, and that can lead to more power and better response for you. By allowing the exhaust gas pulses to cross over, a vacuum effect is created and it pulls the gases through. And the effects are most notable at higher RPM. So if you're really working the car hard, you're gonna hear and feel the difference here. Now, all that means the ATAK is loud on the outside, and it is also quite a bit louder on the inside, but again, it's not gonna make your ears bleed. For those of you out there who really like a loud exhaust, this is the one to get because it sounds great and there is absolutely zero drone. So even though it's gonna be noticeably louder inside the cabin, especially as compared to your stock exhaust, you will actually be able to enjoy this, and even on a longer road trip, it's not gonna make you wanna get out of the car. Now you might need to turn your volume up on your favorite song, but when an exhaust sounds this good, I say just turn it off. It's a small price to pay, especially since you don't get that drone. Now of course we have to talk about the part that you actually see when this is mounted on the car, and in this system you get the quad 4-inch chrome tips. These are gonna be a bit larger in diameter than your factory setup, so it's very much a subtle change in the appearance. Personally, I am a fan of old school chrome tips on an exhaust, and I love the quad tip look on the standard C6. However, it needs a little bit of sprucing up, and that's exactly what you get here. Now this system is also compatible with vehicles that have the NPP dual mode exhaust. The Borla system does not include any valves, it's not switchable in any way, but it will still work on your car even if you have the NPP option from the factory. As far as construction goes, again, this is a really high quality system. Borla makes all their exhausts out of T304 stainless steel, so you're gonna get excellent corrosion and rust resistance here. Everything in this system is made from T304, from the flanges all the way back to the tips, so it's about as good a quality as you're likely to find anywhere. And as you can see, it's actually just a nice looking exhaust. The piping is all 2.5-inch mandrel bent tubing into the mufflers, and you've got 2-inch tubing out to your tips here. So there's no wrinkles, no restrictions in the system. That means that all the exhaust gases will flow smoothly through. It's a lot less restrictive than your stock system and allows your engine to breathe better and reduce back pressure, which again can lead to more power and better response for you. Pricing for this system comes in at about $2,500, and that is not what you would describe as cheap. This is definitely a premium product, and it is toward the upper end of the category when it comes to pricing for catbacks for the C6. However, the build quality and the sound here are more than worth it in my opinion. If you want something that's gonna sound good and it's gonna last you a long time, this is an excellent choice for your car. Installation will come in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 4 hours to complete. Now this is designed to be a bolt-on installation, and it will utilize all your factory exhaust hanger locations, so you don't have to do any modifications to the car. However, you will have to do some disassembly, and exhausts on Vettes are a bit more tricky than they are on normal cars. However, it's still a job that you can tackle at home, especially because we're gonna walk you through the process step by step right now. So for that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you will need a pry bar, various ratchets and impacts, an extension, a swivel adapter, a 13mm swivel socket, 13mm deep socket, 15 and 18mm sockets, a 13mm ratcheting wrench, a 15mm wrench, hanger tool, a soft mallet, and also not shown here is a pole jack or jack and jack stands. All right, today we're going to be doing an exhaust on our Corvette, so let's get started. All right, so we've got our car in the air. The first thing we want to do is lower our sway bar down. Now we don't have to disconnect it from our control arms. We can unbolt it from our subframe and then drop the whole bar down. It's held in by 2 18mm bolts as well as 2 18mm nuts. So we've got our 18mm socket on our ratchet, and we'll drop that down. All right, so sometimes these bolts can be pretty tight. So what we're going to do is grab our longer ratchet to get it loose first. We'll loosen up our nut as well. We'll get the other side loose, and we'll come back and remove these. Now this is the through bolt of our lower control arm that mounts it. Sometimes this bolt does spin with the nut. So we've got a 15mm wrench. Get on through the bolt head. We'll run our top bolt off. And we'll do the same thing on the other side and get our sway bar down. Now we'll pull our sway bar back and down. Just like that. It'll sit nice and out of the way for us. So next we're going to come in front of our axle to our slip joint clamps, and we're going to loosen those up with our 15mm socket on our impact. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. All right, so next what we're going to do is come back to our muffler and tip section. Now we have 4 hangers with brackets back here at our tips that are mounted on the backside cross member behind our bumper. These are held in by 13mm bolts. They also have hooks that keep them in place. What we're going to do is remove the bolts for those hooks with our 13mm ratcheting wrench and our 13mm socket on our ratchet. Now for the outer bolt on each side, on each muffler, you can use the 13mm socket with a ratchet. On the 2 inner ones, you will need a 13mm ratcheting wrench. So we'll get our outer ones first. Take that bolt out. We'll get our ratcheting wrench for our inner one. As you can see, brought our hanger bracket down. It has this hook. It's easier to get your bolt all the way out when you turn that down. Now that we have these 2 out, we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Next, what we're going to do is remove our 2 13mm nuts for our spring hangers in the middle of our mid-pipe section. So we've got a 13mm socket on our impact, and we'll get those off. We do have a pole jack underneath here just to help support the weight, because once we take these off, the only thing holding it is the flanges. We get our first one off. You want to take this out just to keep it out of the way. We'll do the same thing over here. Up and out. Next, what we're going to do is remove our 2 flange nuts from each of our flanges. We got our 15mm socket on our impact. Pop these off. All right, so now we can get our slip joints out of our mid-pipe and our muffler section. We've already got our other side out. Work this side out. Should drop down for you. Once you have that drop down, we're going to lower our mid-pipe down with our pole jack so that we can get our tail section mufflers out. You may have to pry back on your tail sections a little bit. Get that loose. It should start dropping down for you. Once you get that down, we'll get our muffler sections out. All right, so once you have your first side out, you can do the same thing for the other side. All right, so next we can remove our mid pipe. So we'll support it and lower our pole jack. Once you have that out, you can set our midsection aside. All right, so now that we have our factory system off, it's time to start installing our new setup. We're gonna start with our X pipe at our 2 flanges. Now you do wanna make sure your factory donut gaskets are still in there. If they're pretty beat up, now would be a good time to replace them. We're gonna start with our passenger side extension to our flange. We'll get that lined up. Now optimally, this should slide right on, as you'll see with our driver's side. However, one of our studs is slightly bent, so we're gonna need a soft mallet to kind of work this into place. Now you can see once we get over our little bent part, make sure your donut gasket stays lined up. The rest of it slides right over. And we're gonna loosely reinstall our factory 15mm nuts. And we're not gonna tighten these down right now. Once we have that installed, we're gonna grab the remainder of our X pipe along with one of our provided clamps. So we're gonna get this over our slip joint, get the other flange on, and then reinstall our 15mm nuts on that side as well. You may have to massage this one with a mallet. Once you get it over, again, reinstall your nuts. Make sure your donut gasket is in the right spot. Next, we can install our mid pipes. Now these are each labeled for your right and left side. Right is going to be the passenger side, left driver. What we're going to do is get our clamp onto our slip joint to go onto our X pipe. Slide that side on. And we're going to line up this mounting point to our factory spring hanger. Slide this on. Get this in. Our spring hanger in, then we'll loosely reinstall our 13mm nut. Once you have this side loosely in place, we can do the same thing for the other side. Now we are going to be reusing our factory isolators and hangers for our mufflers, so we're going to take those off of our factory system now. We've got our hanger removal tool. Pop those off. Once you got these two off, you can do the same thing for your other muffler. Now we can assemble our muffler over axle section. What we're going to do first is grab our provided clamp, slide that over our slip joint on our muffler. And we're going to take our over axle section. You want the straight close to 90 to be facing towards your mid pipes. Get this in. Want that to fully seat. We're not going to tighten this down. And what we're going to do is install those factory isolators that we took off onto our hanger rods. You want your mounting tabs for your isolators to be facing towards the rear of the vehicle. We're going to have another clamp to put on our mid pipe, and then we'll get this over our axle and into position. First, we'll get our clamp onto our mid pipe. And we're going to take our over axle tail section and fish it over our rear axle and get it into position. All right, so sometimes you're gonna run into trouble, as you saw, of trying to fish all of this over your axle and get it lined up with your mid-pipe. Sometimes it lines up, sometimes it doesn't, just the way it goes. So what we're gonna do alternatively is take this out, line this up with our mid-pipe first over our axle, and then get our muffler slip joint on after that. So we'll get our over axle pipe through. Bring that up, rotate our mid pipe. Get that in, lay that down. Then we can line up our muffler section. All right, so now we'll get our muffler section in. Remember, we still have our clamp over our slip joint. Get this up and in. Then we're gonna hang our isolators. Next, we're gonna reinstall our two 13mm bolts for our hanger brackets. And we're just gonna get these loosely in place. Scoot your muffler back. Then we'll get the other one in as well. Now once you've got this side loosely in place, you can repeat the same process for the other side, then we'll come back and tighten everything down. So now we can begin tightening everything down. We're gonna start at our flanges. So we've got our 15mm socket on our impact. We're gonna tighten these down. You want to alternate your sides tightening so that these pull evenly. We'll tighten this flange down as well. Now once we've got that flange tight, we can tighten down our first slip joint clamp right here. You do want to make sure this is fully seated into your X pipe so it doesn't cause any leaks if it's exposed at the slip joint itself. Again, with our 15mm socket. Now we're going to tighten down our front mid-pipe clamps. Now you don't want to have these hanging down so low that they're the lowest point of the vehicle. You can kick them up a little bit, but you also don't want them too tight to your tunnel to where they might hit or rattle. We'll find a nice middle ground, tighten these down. Now one tip about these clamps, you want to make sure they're at the very end of your slip joint. That's where you're going to get the best seal. Then we'll do the same for this clamp. Now we're going to tighten down our two 13mm nuts for our spring hangers. So we got our 13mm socket. Tighten these down. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. Now we can tighten down our over axle clamps to our mid pipe. Now one thing to point out is you want to make sure this is not hitting or rubbing on any part of your vehicle that's going to create vibrations. This passenger side naturally wants to rest right towards the body of the vehicle, which is fine. We're going to take a pry bar and just move it off while we tighten this clamp. That'll kind of center it up. Just get this in. You don't have to go crazy, just push it in towards the center of the vehicle. We'll get our 15mm socket, line up our clamp. That's going to help hold that angle. Now we're not touching anything up here. Now your driver's side, you don't have to worry about as much. It naturally wants to sit more in the middle. And you just want to stick your hand up there, make sure it's clear. All right, so now we can tighten our muffler clamps for our overaxle pipes. Now before you do this, you want to double check and make sure your tips are facing the way you want them and lined up, because this clamp is going to hold them in position. So these are very tough to see. What you're going to do is grab an extension and a swivel adapter and a 15 mil socket on your impact and send this up through basically your subframe, and then we're going to hold that in position and tighten down these clamps. There's a nice hole on your passenger side subframe to go straight through. Sometimes it's easier without the swivel. Once you got that one tight, you can do the same thing on the other side. All right, so since your new mufflers are a bit narrower, you have just enough room on both sides to get a 13 mil swivel socket in on your ratchet. So we'll tighten down our hanger bracket bolts now with our 13 mil swivel socket. Get our outer one. Once you got these two tight, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now we can get our sway bar back in position and reattach our 18 millimeter bolts and 18 millimeter nuts. Swing this up. Line it up, and bolt back in the top, that back on the bottom. We'll get the other two on, then we'll come back and tighten these down. Now we'll tighten back down our 18 millimeter nut using our 15 millimeter wrench for the bolt head, our 18 mil socket. We'll tighten down our 18 millimeter bolt as well. Once you got these two tight, you can do the same thing on the other side. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our Borla ATAK Cat-Back Exhaust System with polished tips for your 05 to 07 6-liter Corvette C6. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Corvette, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.